And turn the slides on.
Okay,
recording. This is the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs, the 1st of May, and we're starting to talk about creating great content. It's going to be an interesting month. Let me get us started on this screen share. There we go. Slideshow. So it's big. We love big things. So. My little gallery. Hi, Kim. My little gallery is always in the wrong place. Okay, so we are we usually the 1st and 4th Tuesdays of every month are for others, and I just didn't go out and tell others about it until the last minute. I had the flu for a couple of days. We'll see how we go. I have breakfast still sitting here on the counter beside me, and it's 2 p.m. and I can't look at it or eat it or anything, so we'll see where we go from here. But we're basically getting ready to gear up for the month of May on creating great content. The goal of NACWI is to enhance community and education for Christian women entrepreneurs. There's so many more things that we do. Everyone here is a member right now, so we won't go into all of those details, saving us a little time. You are going to need your water, your chapstick. I'll do the Diane thing. Your chapstick, maybe pen and paper, and be thinking of something this month that you really need to work on creating great content, whether it doesn't matter if it's just a few social media posts or whatever, and then we'll do a workshop and a networking group later in the month where we get into it a little more and talk about some online tools that you can use and things like that. But gear up. So I'm Karen Lindwall-Bourg, the president of NACWI, and Morris Chang is the CEO of this huge company. I'm not even sure what they do exactly, but he said, without strategy, execution is aimless, and without execution, strategy is useless. And we're talking about all year long, the theme of NACWI is implement. Let's finally we talk about it, we think about it, we dream about it, we doodle about it, whatever, but we really need to get down to implementing different strategies and making things happen. The word of the month of May is execute. And the tool we'll talk about most of the month is your websites and social media venues. The biggest challenge facing any entrepreneur, especially those with a strong strategic orientation, is execution. Most of us are really terrible at it, but our company's success rests on our ability to actually implement the strategies that we've dreamed up and come up with. So I'm having so much trouble with my little gallery bar. I'm wondering if it shows on the video that this thing is moving around all the time. It probably does, but people just have to bear with us. 1 Timothy 4:14-15 says, "Do not neglect the gift you have, which was given you by prophecy when the council of elders laid their hands on you. Practice these things. Immerse yourself in them so that all may see your progress." If you don't think you have special gifts, this is Angela's specialty. If you don't think you have special gifts given to you by the Lord to do what he's called you to do, you are wrong. You do. And so we're supposed to immerse ourselves in this giftedness. God, the creator, is the one who gives gifts to us, such as creativity, which we're talking about this month. I don't consider myself that creative a person, but I'll tell you some of my tricks. We were created in God's image, and he's given each one of us certain gifts of creativity, so it's up to us to discover them. I was on a little discovery mission last month, Angela, and then utilize them for God's glory in our business and ministry. We all have creativities in areas that God has given to us for particular purposes, and as always, they are intended to glorify and honor him. So we'll just continue to encourage everyone. I have got to fix this bar. There we go. To join us on the educational webinars at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on Tuesdays, on the Thursday prayer calls, and during the week daily with encouragements and inspiration. Here's your link to the prayer calls. I think everybody in here has that, and of course it's listed on your Facebook page. And then we have 5th Tuesday specials. So we decided, what do we do on that 5th Tuesday? If we're trying to focus the 1st and 4th Tuesdays on non-members and members, and the second and third Tuesdays on taking members deeper than we have been before and kind of networking and getting to know one another, sharing our expertise a little more. What do we do with the fifth Tuesday of the month? And there usually are about 4 fifth Tuesdays in the year. So we're going to have a virtual conference this month. If you don't know Felicia Slattery, you need to know Felicia Slattery. And she's a tool tycoon, I think. And I told her when I asked her if she would do this with me, and she said yes, that I have probably bought everything she's ever created. I've got a little folder, in fact, somewhere on my desktop that says Felicia Slattery, and her stuff is in there. And I refer to it often. So I can't wait for that. I'll give you an update with the specific topic and the specific time. We don't always necessarily do a Fifth Tuesday special on Tuesday at 2 p.m., but we do it at the end of the month around that time. So it's more like what Diane used to call challenges. So we'll be doing virtual conferences. This month, here's where we go, and we'll pray and dive right in. Our Tuesday webinars are on Zoom, and the first one today is on creating great content. Next week, we're going to hear from Dr. Dorothy Martin Neville, My Message, My Purpose, and My Key to Success. She is a transformation leadership coach at AskDrDorothy.com. On May 15th, we're going to come back with me to do great content tools, things you can use online to help you be more creative in what you're creating. You'll want to bring something with you, your mission statement, a blog title, a social media post, whatever you're working on right here at the middle of May that you really need to get prepared for June, and we'll help you dress it up and make it look more creative, your tagline, anything. And then on the 22nd, I'll be in Guatemala on a mission trip with one NACWE member, Marcella, our missions coordinator, and with some other folks in our community, just sort of getting us started and prepared to do mission trips once or twice a year. In Guatemala, we want to meet Christian women entrepreneurs, and we sort of just are going to do a visions sort of an investigation sort of trip. That doesn't mean he doesn't have a schedule to speak every day. He does. But looking forward to it, and you can find more information about that on our website at nacwe.org/missions. It's not too late to jump in if somebody wants to jump in at the last minute, and you can pray for us. We really need an interpreter. We have some folks going with us that speak Spanish but don't feel qualified to interpret, and as you can imagine, that's pretty crucial. And we have people giving money so that interpreter can go cost-free practically, and we don't have an interpreter. So I'm anxious to see what God's going to do. At any rate, on May the 22nd, I'll be in another country. I'll hopefully be popping in live as often as I can, but you'll hear from Courtney, a coach at Steady Heart Life, on quick content calendar creation. She's a scheduler. I mean, her entire life is all scheduled out, and I need that. So I'll have to watch the replay on that one if I can't be there while I'm in a car, because we'll be traveling that day. So let's pray and then get started. Father God, I'm so grateful that you've reminded us that you have gifted us. You have called us. There's a purpose in what we're doing. The purpose is to glorify and honor you as we serve people. And I don't feel creative about it. I feel like my artistic prowess and the words I choose and things like that are sometimes, what's the opposite of creative? Just dull, or not, they don't pop, they don't wow. And we know it's important because we see the same old thing over and over, and we're not going to click on it. We're not going to find the people that we need to help us if we don't present things, if things aren't presented in a creative way. But we want to be creative in a way that pleases you. So Lord, we just pray for this special time that we have together, for the folks that are here and for those who will watch the replay later, that you would give us great insight and some real practical and applicable steps to take today to be more creative in our offerings. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. So in the chat room, actually we have a small group here, and I have fewer slides than I normally do. I know it's a real shocker, information junkie that I am. So let's come in one at a time. Just take 30 seconds to say who you are, where you are, something about why you do what you do, anything. It doesn't have to be prepared and polished. And then and talk about what areas you might need to be creating great content this month. And then in the chat room, please type that stuff in when we get started. Take your time, but type it in for everybody to see and refer to later. So who wants to start?
So you're wanting us to verbally do all of this, but also put it in the chat room?
Yeah, do your 30-second commercial right here using these guidelines, and then also type it into the chat room if you can.
Okay. All right. Anita Query. I'm in Arlington, Texas, home of the Texas Rangers and Dallas Cowboys and all that. Whatever. Six Flags for all you people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I help people get healthy from the inside using natural supplements and targeting some really basic things like blood sugar, inflammation, gut health. And my website, I'll put in there, plexusworldwide.com/Anita Query. I'll put all that in there. What I need to create this month, I did create a special for an event we have tonight. If you've never heard of a quarter auction, you bid on items with quarters. It's pretty cool and cheap and fun. And I run a special, the girl that I'm going to be doing it with, since it's May and Cinco de Mayo's 5-5, and I like numbers, we're doing like $5 off any $50 order, so we have that special. Plus our company is also doing free shipping for new customers that order 100 or more. So they'll get free shipping this month. So that's some of our specials. And as far as content, along with that, I was creating specials like that, and just education. I think one of the things one of my ambassadors and I are doing is created a page about gut health, just basics of health, basic information. And so adding some people to that page and the content that has on there. She's put a lot of great things already, but we're working to grow that and help educate people.
So it's a Plexus quarter auction?
No, it's a quarter auction up at Lone Star Park, the horse racetrack. It's a building. It's a
okay
building there, but it's a quarter auction run by a lady that is an organization, and it benefits a charity each month.
Cool. Okay.
You raise money, and so this month it's a foundation that Lone Star Park has, a charity foundation. One month we benefited a baseball team, a little league team. It was really neat, and we've just different ministries or charities.
So post a link to that for those of us who are not in Missouri, which is everybody but Kim. So because I'm interested in seeing how that happens and when.
It's not that far from you. It's in North Brentford.
Yeah, I'm interested.
It's fun.
So, okay, somebody else, Janie, Angela, Kim.
I'm still kind of working on what I was going to type in the chat room. But anyway, I'm Janie, and I am a freelance. Oh, I guess I'll put my video on so you can see me. Okay. Hi, I'm Janie. I am a freelance graphic designer. I'm in Carrollton, Texas. I recently went through a 3-part program, kind of a self-help program. And through that, my why or my purpose was in the form of a contract. And so I'm enough. Through Christ in me, I'm equipped to love myself and people where they are, and I choose to use my gifts and talents to bring out the beauty and good in the world. So that's what you could say is my why. I have a gift for seeing what needs, how things need to be organized and how they flow. And make it easier for people to follow and draw people in with the design that I do. I have that gift. I also have the gift of mercy. And so therefore I tend to, and this is not good for an entrepreneur, but I tend to be very empathetic toward people. And so I tend to want to do things for them for free or for a greatly reduced cost. And that doesn't help my bottom line, but it helps me feel good. So, I need to create content that will draw people into my strengths. And recently I've added some services to my website, and I'm trying to figure out how to advertise those services. I'm not quite ready, but when I'm ready, I want to go out there and advertise those services. So that's what I need to create contact for.
Yeah. So we have a meeting tomorrow. You can
I'm
use as a
excited.
guinea pig. I love it.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Angela, Kim?
I was going to say real quick of what Janie said about the giving things away. I think I've seen most people in that way, because most of them are more compassionate, Christian, that you want to be giving and everything. So I've seen a lot of people say that. I just want to give it away because we want to help people.
Yeah. I think it's a lifelong process, don't you? And somewhere we need to find balance.
Yeah.
I'll go next, Karen. I'm Angela Holford, and I'm in the process of unveiling my organization, my business, and I am located in Kennedale, which is just below Arlington in the DFW area of Texas. And I am a speaker, a seminar leader, and a coach on understanding your giftedness. Like what Janie just talked about. I teach on your personalities and how you can have conflict with your personalities and how you can avoid conflict when you understand your personalities. I teach on spiritual giftedness and also help people understand how their ambitions and their leadership styles, their experiences, their needs, and their talents pull together with their temperaments and spiritual gifts to make them a unique creation of Christ with a unique plan and purpose. So that's what I try to do with my business. And right now, today, I was actually working on creating a website and starting my social media outlets. And so I'm looking forward to what I find out today.
So which social media outlet will you start with first, since you can really only do one at a time, get them up?
I'm going to get the website started first, and then probably, I don't know. I'm open for suggestions from you ladies.
Yeah, we have lots of suggestions. I mean, everyone is on Facebook. I think LinkedIn. I think we need to do an entire program in NACWI. I've talked to so many people who said, oh, yes, let's please do that, about how to really use your LinkedIn profile better. And there have been several. I have some stories to tell about how that's kind of come to the forefront of everything. But I think because most of us who need an entrepreneur coach of any kind don't look for it first in LinkedIn. We look first around on Facebook. You'll probably want to start with Facebook. We can talk about that. And we're trying to reschedule an appointment, I think, right? So, Kim, how about you?
Okay, I'm Kim Smith. I'm near St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a finance and legacy coach. The short version is I equip people to handle their finances in ways to honor God. And one of my heart's passions is to see people freed up from financial debt so that they can pursue what God really has for them. And along with that, to see our church is actually celebrating this Sunday being debt-free, of paying off $2.3 million. And I'm told over and over I was instrumental in that happening. And so it's pretty exciting. So I really do have a heart to teach pastors how important it is to teach their people that if they will pay off their debt, then individually they can use that. But then as a church, what can our churches do if our churches are debt-free? And that just goes into our legacy as both individuals and corporately as the body of Christ. And so just our legacy and what we can do with it. And it goes back to what Angela just said, and us using our gifts in a way that honor God. And when people are financially burdened and completely stressed out, they're not even using their spiritual gifts in the way God has equipped them. And I'll put my social media and website in there. And what am I needing to do? I really need to completely revamp my website. So hopefully I can get some measure of success this month on that.
Good. We hope we can be helpful in that way. I really am working on content for the website that goes along with this for save the date for the conference. And there's some information about the conference at the end. I'm very excited about it and the main web page for the conference, but I really want to get the save the date out there. So that's what I'm focusing on this month as well. So let's move forward to create great content. This is part 1 of 2. The 2 will be a little more, even more interactive than this and a little more practical with tools. I'll give you sort of an outline of the part 2, which will be on the 15th later on in this. Actually, why didn't we already talk about, oh, we did. Did we talk about this? Yeah, got it. Sorry. So who are we creating great content for? Who needs to create great content? All of us as entrepreneurs. For whom? For our ideal clients. So we've talked about that many, many times. We have to create great content. I put 24/7, but it shouldn't be so complicated, I think. So everywhere, we're mostly online. I have talked to a few people who were interested, who downloaded our new freebie, our opt-in on the website. If you haven't downloaded it, it's really great. It's 7 tips and kind of looks at your entrepreneurship from all dimensions of wellness. You're already in the email bank, so if you download it, you're not going to be in there twice, but you might want to download it. And when I've talked to people who've downloaded that, several dozen people, and I've had great fun with these phone calls, that I have talked to a few who picked this thing up online, but they're not online. They don't exist online. And so it's really brought home to me that really we are Christian women entrepreneur group that focuses online. So we're going to focus online, and I think next year everything we do each month, the themes of growth are going to be all about everything online, which I'm just discovering we really need. How we're going to use some great tools and some inspirational ideas, and why? Because we're just not attracted to the same old stuff anymore. And isn't the definition of insanity, doing the same old thing over and over and over again, expecting different results? Why should we be surprised that we're not getting different results? So we're going to talk through, and we'll stop at some of them. Try to watch my clock here. We're going to talk through 13 real quickly, and some of them are really simple steps to creating great content. And the first one is know your why. So I just loved that we started off that way with introductions. If you've been with a coach of any value in NACWE, we've talked about your why. Why? Because people are more drawn to your why than they are to your product or your service or your program. I'm more drawn to what Anita can do for me with Plexus products and the testimonies and the stories. So we spent some time together this weekend, and the more she talked about it, the more I thought, oh man, I'm re-upping. And I sent an email ticket to the Plexus people saying, yeah, how do I reinstate my ambassadorship? Kind of wanted that to be a surprise for Anita, but it was so important for me to hear, which it may not be a surprise. It's not a surprise now, and you're probably going to have to help me because they're not answering my questions. So, but it's more important. It was more important to me this weekend to hear all of the whys and all of the stories and things that were happening to people, and realize it did curb my hunger. It did. So why am I not utilizing that, and the rest of the family as well? And I think it did regulate my blood sugar. I don't know. I didn't do tests or anything, but I just know that I didn't feel off. So why? The why is more important. I didn't care really about the product, what it tastes like, what it looks like, what new developments are happening. I was like, yeah, I don't care. But now that she's talked to me about some of the whys, I'm more and more interested. Second, you need to create great content, because that's what provides value to your client. Obviously, they're not going to invest. We just talked about that. We have trouble giving things away. We have trouble getting people to pay for things. Everybody wants something for free. I mean, sadly, a lot of people want everything for free, and it's just not possible. But we've got to provide value for our clients, and part of your creative content has to communicate value. What are you going to do for them? You know, are you going to save them money? Are you going to save them time? Kim's going to help them leave a legacy. Angela's going to help us understand more about our own personality and giftedness. I love that you combine a personality assessment and a spiritual gifts assessment. No one has ever done that for me before. And sort of it was as if the light bulb went off. That was very valuable to me. I do think I need to spend more time in it to get more out of it, but it was very valuable. One of the things that Janie provides that I love is a branding guide. Once she creates your brand and all of your graphics for you and everything, she puts it in this beautiful guide so that you can use it more wisely, so that your virtual assistant can use it more wisely, and in more of a variety of ways. And I mean, to me, that's great value. I lit up. Your client lights up like, oh yeah, that's what I need. In NACWI, we started with, to be really, the whole year, you can, if you look at it month by month by month, you can see the progression of my thoughts, you know, and they all build on one another. We started with getting organized. If we're going to be really creative in the great content that we post and provide, we've got to be organized about it. So at the end of the month, Courtney's going to talk to us about creating a calendar for your creative content. We talked about dreaming unapologetically bigger, God-sized dreams. We've got to allow ourselves to do that, or else everything's still black and white. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but nothing goes toward a creative bent unless we allow ourselves to think out of the box. We talked about planning with purpose. You've got to have a plan for creating, and you do. You all just told us, I wrote them down, so I would be sure to pray for them throughout this week. You told us what the plan of the month is, or the week, or the day. Plan with purpose. The fourth thing we talked last month about, and we'll hear more and more about this as the year goes on, because no matter what the topic of the month is, everyone I've talked to and sort of recruited to speak for us throughout the years continued to talk about the story. Your creative content has to introduce illustrations, your story, other people's stories, and other values. And I didn't know what to put here, but I thought statistics, we need numbers. Sometimes we just need numbers. Product details, Anita was giving me lots of product details, not over an overwhelming amount, but explaining different details about the products, and you need that. Different endorsements and testimonials. So if you don't have, as you're taking notes for yourself and thinking, what am I going to do after this webinar? If you don't have endorsements and testimonials, let's go get some. All you have to do is ask, right? We're always seemingly willing to give one another kudos if we're asked, but most of us don't ask. And all of that for more to build interest in your content and in your product, your programs, your services. The fifth point, keep it simple. The other day, Courtney's our virtual assistant for NACWI. Actually, I've been working with her before NACWI for about, and we're thinking it's 5 years, going on 5 years. And she said to me, you really like alliteration, don't you? Because I had, first set just planning for this month said, create creative content. She was like, everything doesn't have to start with the same letter. And I think I overcomplicate things. So also another thing that she's done for us, if you notice at the very beginning of the presentation, our tagline was providing community and creating education. And that's not what NACWI's original tagline was. Those were included in the tagline, but it kind of went on. And Courtney was one of those people that said, just keep it simple. What do? We really provide a like-minded community of other Christian women entrepreneurs so you don't feel so alone. And we provide education, weekly education and more, to help people answer those questions about how do I grow my business. You don't have to, we want it to be creative. We want it to pop. We want it to be beautiful. We want it to be eye-catching and draw our client in, but we don't have to make it too complicated. And I'm one of those people that just analyzes things to death and makes them too complicated. Sixth thing, you want to ask them a question. So how are we doing on time? Good. Let's do that. let's take a moment. We'll set a timer and think about what you just said. Anita talked about putting together this quarter auction. Janie talked about some redressing some new services that she's offering. Angela's unveiling this new organization, just starting on her website, just starting on her social media. I mean, what a blessing to start with the crew like this at your fingertips. You can show people and say, what do you think? Does this pop or does this pop? You'll see that happening often in NACWI. And then Kim's working on, I didn't get what you were working, oh, the website. Let me write that down. So knowing what you do, you've given us what you do, who you are, where you are, why you do what you do. You kind of know your client. I'm going to assume everyone knows their client pretty well. I think we can always go a little deeper in our ideal client. And there are entire webinars about that everywhere. What is the main question that you're going to ask them? So for me, it was the conference. So let's set a timer for a minute. Sorry, I should have gotten the music ready. I'm not a multitasker. If I chose music for you, I would play you some Keith and Kristen Getty. Y'all know that I listened to the Gettys all morning this morning. It was awesome. Timer. Is a minute enough or two? Give me a finger. Okay, we're going to start with 1 minute. And you're basically just going to construct the question that you're asking the client that draws them into this new thing that you're working on, and we'll share it. You can share it in the chat room or we'll talk about it as well. Ready? Go. I think you're right, Kim. Was 1 minute enough? Did anybody need more? So let's jump in and talk about the question. And I think obviously this is a rough draft. We're going to have to dress it up a little bit later. That's why I'll send to Courtney and say, can you make this, pop a little more? But what do you think your question is for your client for this creative project you're working on? Anybody?
Want me to go?
Sure.
And I would love input. How important is it for you to leave a legacy and why? And it sounds so dry and boring. But I need to hear what their opinions are. Or what does the word legacy mean to you?
Ooh. Any comments for Kim?
Yeah, maybe something like, oh, shoot. What do you want written on your tombstone? Something, but to use the word legacy, I like the what does legacy mean to you? Say the first one again.
How important is it
to leave a legacy and why?
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to be able to ask them why. I think you're going to have to hint to them what the whys are. But when you said how important is it, there was this, because I know what you do. We've coached together. You coached me before. there was this tug in me, like, yeah, Karen, how important is it? And you didn't say on a scale of, but I was thinking on a scale of, how serious are you about this? And if you're going to give it a number, why aren't you investing more time in, your financial legacy? I was thinking financial legacy because the coaching that we've done together has been financial, although you've spoken for us on legacy. But I wasn't turned off by the how important. I was challenged. I liked it. I don't know about that.
Another thing is do you want to leave a legacy?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Because we don't even think about it most of the time.
Yeah. Do you want to leave a legacy? And that'll get them going like, oh, what's that? How do I do that? So.
And knowing that you're a finance and legacy coach, I wondered if there needs to be, if you're doing these questions separately, that's one thing. But if you're, somehow you've got to come up with a question that combines the two. Not sure how to do that, but I love it. I love the start. Anybody else? Somebody else come in?
Well, mine might be just as boring.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
I'm basically saying, are you struggling with consistency in your branding efforts? Because and that's all I came up with in a minute, but I started thinking about other things, and like Karen was saying about the branding guide, people don't realize how important it is until they get it, and they're like, oh my gosh. And I just recently talked somebody into getting the branding guide, and at first they was like, well, that's a lot of money, and then they said, and I explained to them, they said but they want this and this and this. Like they said they wanted stationery design, business card and stationery and design. I said, well, that's included in my style guide, my branding guide. And they want all these files, in all different sizes and all different formats. And I said, well, that's part of the branding guide also. And then they said they wanted recommendations on fonts for the website that they're going to do. And I'm like, that's part of this branding guide. And colors, they not only the colors of the logos, but colors that will go with the logo. And I'm like, okay, basically you want the branding guide, so can we go there?
Yeah.
And so I did that for them, and they were just blown away. So I just like to emphasize the importance of consistency, and so many people go out there, they get a logo, and they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And they only get it in one version. So it's either stacked or horizontal, and it's color. There's no black and white. There's no grayscale version. There's no different shapes. There's no icon bug to go with it. There's nothing else to go with it. The colors aren't defined, and there's different colors for different outputs. Like, the monitor and websites have one color system, and printing has another color system. And, they don't know what to do with the logo they have. So I would just want people to recognize that there's more to branding than just the logo.
So I loved the word consistency, because that's been one of my problems. Is I've had someone create something for me, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, we don't have green in our NACWIC design. There's no green in here, folks. And this whole thing is green. So, and I've been able to just hand them a branding guide, a simplified version of a branding guide, and say, no, let's stick with this. But I also think there's a word in there. So you guys pop in on this one. It's more, there's a word that you might add to this question about, and I don't know, I'm just going to throw the rough draft out there. The ease of utilization of, for one, the comprehensiveness of this branding guide, and the ease of utilization, or, so I don't know what those words are for you, but it's, in addition to consistency, those things really popped out.
Okay.
I know we're talking about it in the form of a question, but as you were going through, Janie, the list of the things, like the color, you just went through like 5 or 6 things. To me, if those were all like in a list, or like, oh, this is already done for me. This is done. Where I see it all together.
Yeah. They are, but people.
It's the ease. It's also saving me a ton of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm not having to go to somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had to convince him of, and I've got it. I had it all in a list. I went through several emails, and maybe it was like too much information or something, or maybe he was overwhelmed by it. But I was telling him everything that came with it, and he says, "All I want is this, this, and this." I'm like, "Well, if I give you that, that, and that separately, it will cost more than the branding guide." Yeah. And with the branding guide, you get this and this and this as well, you know. So I don't know how I can be.
We do not read everything, right? It's someone a text, a comment, and it's 2 questions and they answer one of them. I mean, isn't that?
I know.
Maybe the creativity here is how do you get them to see every element that you want them to see? But
right.
I love that. I love the done for you. I actually was in a coaching program, not in it anymore. It ended in April. And they had 2 levels, and one of them was, let's work on this together, and then the other one was literally called Done for You. And I went through that program.
Job done.
I should have just paid for the Done for You because I finished everything, but it's there still for me to work on. But I love the Done for You.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the words creative consistency and maybe even the phrase all-in-one branding.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I like that.
Because it's all there. I mean, that was their question. Well, what about this? And what if I want that? And you're like, read the document. It's all there. Who are we missing? Angela and Anita, y'all want to pop in?
Well, I had a comment on the other 2. Anything I was gonna say about Janie's, which was good, Angela nailed it. I was like, yep, I like it. I'll just vote with her on that. Those are good suggestions. But yeah, I think that's good. I like the consistency part too. On Kim's, I was going to say that I think all forms of your question that were, you stated and then everybody else kind of stated, I think they're all good because just the word legacy, most people don't think about that. They just they don't even realize they have a legacy. They don't always think about all the people they impact, not just their family members down the road and their great grandkids and all that, but just everybody they touch. So I think just bringing that to their attention gets them thinking. That's definitely a good word to use.
Anybody else?
On mine, I was going to ask them just what are your top concerns about your health? And everybody has some concern on this. There's a few people that'll say, "Oh, I'm good."
Little do they know.
You're not 100% healthy. I see how you eat. But usually people have a concern, and it's not necessarily calling it a problem. Or another word might be, "What are your top goals?" See yourself in so many years and that sort of thing. That's just my initial thought.
It's almost like for those people who say, "I'm good, I don't have any problems," there needs to be the word hidden in there. What could possibly be a hidden health concern? Or
Anita, you could also say something along the lines of, what would you be doing differently in your life if your health were just a little bit more improved than it is?
Oh, yeah.
I was also thinking, you used the word hidden, Karen. I was thinking, what hidden health concerns are impacting your other goals in life?
And I love the what would you be doing different, because when you were asking the other questions, I wasn't thinking anything, but the minute somebody said that, I thought I would have more energy.
Yeah. Or I'd be traveling more, or I'd be playing with my granddaughters more, or
yeah.
What would your life look like if your health was just a little bit better than it is now? Or,
That's good because...
Or if you had more energy, what would your life look like?
Because even if you have good health, there's something that could be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
In counseling, we call that the miracle question. We might do some development on the miracle question in the tools part.
That's a good idea.
And it's sort of like, if you went home tonight and this wasn't a problem anymore, what would it look like? Who would notice? What would you be doing differently? And it kind of just opens up possibilities. So. Angela, you want to jump in with a question?
Yes, looking at trying to get my brand and my quick question out. The one I have thought about is, are you enduring only now living to experience furthermore living?
Ooh, I love that.
Linking into the services that I offer.
Ooh, there's so many things you could do with only now and furthermore.
Mm-hmm.
When I say the words furthermore, I think of furthermore, which you're trying to get people to think into the future a little more. So maybe a play on that. I don't know where I'm going with that, but when you said it, I got it. But after you said it and I heard myself say the word furthermore, it wasn't a future hope. It was just furthermore.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I think the furthermore can communicate that you've done a great job so far. You're a great person. But furthermore, there's more to come. And you can do more. And you can further your life. You can do more. And so it is kind of a play on the word, because a lot of times, and then with the dealing with the conflict issue, there's always something that in the conflicts is going to say, furthermore,
that's true.
You've got the tools and the equipment, understanding how to handle conflict, of how to address their, well, furthermore. So I wondered how that hit people. And
I think the word enduring, I think that's what a lot of people are doing. They're just getting through today. Because today has all of its own challenges, whether it's raising kids or running your business or both or whatever it is. And I think there's definitely something, I can't figure out if there's another word necessarily, but I think that's something to really hit on. Are you just trying to get through the day and just not thinking about, beyond that?
And even as so enduring, yeah, I mean, there's a key word there. But even just when you said more to come, I thought, well, how simple is that? But I want more to come. I mean, as simple as those words sounded, oh my gosh. We could do this for hours, you guys. Okay, we're going to move on for the sake of time. Seventh point is to connect with emotion. And I don't think we need to manipulate or play on anyone's emotions, but you know that when you buy something, usually there's an emotion attached to it. When you sign up for something, you want that. I want the freedom that gives me. If we won't have time to talk about it today, but we've been talking all year long so far about focusing on, we can do a whole week, maybe use this in the tools section 2 weeks from now. That really you identify what your client's problem is, the pain that it's causing them, that's the emotion, what solution you have to offer them, and the glory or the success, that's another emotion that they will be feeling. So we talked about NACWE. The problem is I feel so alone as an entrepreneur. And the pain is lonely, frustrated, I'm going to give up, I don't know who to go to talk to. There's this, there are tons of emotions included in that. And then the solution is the community of NACWE, and the glory is you're never alone anymore. You're a family. You belong. You feel like you belong. There's relief in all of that. We could go into that in great detail, but we have to connect with the emotion. And we listened to each other's words, and you could see what words got us emotional and excited about something. Very, very crucial. Again, we just talked through this, define the problem, the pain, the solution, and the success or the glory that your client wants. And we talked in one of our conference webinars just recently about how stuck I was doing that for a coach that I had, until I realized that I was a NACWE member. I was someone who was seeking NACWE years ago. And so when I told my story, I was able to fill in some of the blanks where I felt like I was getting stuck for that. So your story, Kim has a financial success story. Anita has a health story, a health improvement of health story. Janie has you should see Janie's website. Oh my gosh, she has a brand new story. And I mean, I'm just in love with the ladybug, and the J-O-B and all of that. So I have to tell you, Janie, I'm going to use you in a song, the J-O-B, in a song with your permission. The next part is avail yourself of great tools. That's going to be our May the 15th webinar. And then the 10th thing is to feature appropriate and eye-catching. You know, you're going to need to use images. I'm not sure if there's ever a time, you know, no one really reads just a Facebook post anymore that doesn't include, that's why they created all those backgrounds, right? Don't you love those? I love those. I mean, I think I would have created them a little differently. Janie's probably thinking, of course, but I like those because it adds some color to the face. I love them. I mean, I get frustrated if I use too many words and it takes the background away, but they added those, folks, for a reason. And the reason was people are not reading your posts anymore if they're not highlighted, colored, an image isn't attached to them, a link isn't attached to them. They can just easily click it. So feature appropriate and eye-catching images or colors or something. We'll talk when we talk about tools about some specific ones. I wasn't even going to put them in here for this one, but there's some of them if you want to take a quick snapshot of those or look at the download later. But then for format of ease of reading, you're going to want to add color, change sizes, use titles and headings, subtitles and subheadings, paragraphs, bullet points, signatures. Janie she probably did address this last summer in the online presence pizzazz when she talked about branding and how to make things really pop. But you've got to dress things up where the eye is drawn to it. Next to last, share everything almost everywhere. I love the tools of Hootsuite and CoSchedule and Post Planner, depends on which one you use. Half of my team uses Hootsuite for one reason and half of my team uses CoSchedule for another reason. The downfall is I'm paying for both programs, but it's paid off and it's working for us. And I love that if you're a blogger, you can now, there's so many tools you can just share everywhere without having to go click, 17 different social media sites. You can just say, put this everywhere. And you do need to share it just about everywhere, unless it's not appropriate. But most of the time, what you're doing is about you and about helping someone. Where's that not appropriate? So,
real quick, Buffer is also good.
Buffer.
I use that one.
And there's some others too. I just know what my team loves and what's working for us. Then last, ask them to do something. So how much time do we have? We started late. Can y'all hang in here another few minutes? Ask them to do something. I am terrible. There's no ask at the beginning. Well, maybe the ask at the end of these slides is save the date for the conference. That's why I ask for. I'm terrible about this. So we have all of these guest speakers on Tuesdays on these webinars, and I'm having to remind them. They send me their stuff, and every one of them I'm having to say, share your stuff at the end. You have to have an ask at the end. It's whether it's by, find me here at my website, buy my book, sign up for my coaching program. You've got to ask. Try my product, sign up for my coaching program, download the freebie. We've got to go ahead and ask. And I know Kadena Tate, one of our NACWE coaches, deluxe NACWE coaches, said, Karen, don't ask them too many things. Because if you ask too many questions, they get so bogged down in making a choice that they don't make a choice. And I was actually offended by that. I thought, really? Seriously? But it's kind of true. So, choose what's most important. So do this. Let's take the 1 minute. I don't know if we'll have a whole lot of time to share, but we'll try. And what I want you to do is define, based on the question that you designed earlier, what's the call to action? What are you asking them to do? And there may be multiple things there, but there's one primary thing. When I didn't share the NACWE stuff because I don't think we have time, but there's one primary thing when Janie is, and we sort of morphed you into promoting a branding guide, and I know that's just a teeny part of what you do. So pick the one thing that you got out of that question that you asked them, and now write down the ask. What's the ask going to be? So let's start the timer for 1 minuto and end up that way.
I'll throw some in real quick too.
Yeah.
I've been told it's good to say, if I, would you, as part of your question. So if I send you some information.
Oh, yeah.
That's just starter, maybe.
Yeah, and it's a give, a win-win. I love that. It's like the live, yes, and thing we talked about earlier in the year. Ready? Setting the timer for a minute. Here we go. All right. Anybody ready? I don't know about you guys, but this is what makes my world go round.
Along the lines of, struggling with consistency in your branding efforts, I have a few other services that I'm working on, but I've already got this on my website where you can schedule a free 20-minute branding or graphic design consultation.
Wow.
So I would go there, say schedule a free 20-minute branding / or graphic design consultation. And I'm also working on a couple of infographics, a branding infographic and a color theory infographic. So I might have a place where they can download those. And I'm working on a color theory presentation that I want to charge for. So
that was so cool. And I have on our freebie on the new NACWE page, when they download it, at the end it says schedule a 30-minute consultation with me, and a couple of people on my team said, do you really want to do that? And so me, Miss Vulnerable here, I thought, yeah, maybe I don't want to do that. It has been the most fun that I have had. And yes, I've talked to a few people that I thought, oh my goodness, you don't know what you're talking about, but for the most part, I have met people and scheduled them to speak to you throughout the rest of the year. And it's just been, and it's a 30-minute conversation. Who doesn't have time to do a few of those? And I've scheduled them. I'm not overdoing it. I've got a block of time, and if it's filled, it's filled. But it has been one of the most fascinating things that I have ever done. So I've loved that. And the fact that someone would take the time to talk with me, and you're going to share screen and show people stuff, oh my gosh, very awesome, valuable. Okay, ask. So who else has to ask?
Do you think 20 minutes is too short of time? Should I say 30?
I think have you done some of them? I think you do some of them.
I haven't promoted it yet.
Yeah, so I would do some of them and see what you think, but it'll hold you to a time. Otherwise, us, we're going to just go on and on. We're going to find somebody that we're interested in, and next thing you know, we're not talking about branding guides, we're talking about life. And so, I think, and if they know they've got 20 minutes, then hopefully they're not going to tell you their entire life story. I'd say give it a try.
Okay.
I'm doing 30 minutes and I'm sticking to it. When the 30-minute thing is up, I'm like, okay, we got to go, got somebody else coming up on the phone, and it's working for me. I would like to talk to some of them longer because I think we could probably do some things together. So there's always that. Do we make another appointment, or do I just drag this? I think you just play it by ear. And that's what I like about entrepreneurship is we get to choose.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Who's got to ask? Angela.
Well, I'll throw one out and y'all can help me modify it. If you are desiring furthermore living, will you contact me to find your starting point package?
So what's the contact? Contact by phone, contact by email, contact?
Probably email. And I'd have the link in it.
Yeah, and you might have to give them, a lot. Once I receive your email, you'll receive a free download of. Might have to give them something free.
Okay.
And then you might have to promise them a sort of turnaround time. I don't know. What do you guys think?
One suggestion that we've had given to us a lot is, instead of asking them to contact you or kind of leaving it open, is to put a date on it or a time, if can we, what's the best, instead of saying kind of like you hope they call you, to say, what's the best time for a phone call, or what's the best time in your schedule on Thursday that we could chat, or if you're doing it that way. If it's just emailing, then be a different wording. But yeah, some
Time constraint.
Because most people get an email. It's just they file it in their head, So
and on your new website and on your new Facebook page, you can actually put a form where they literally give you their name and phone number and email, and maybe they get there's a slot of time that you'll contact them, or they can say, I want to be contacted on Saturday. Or I have a little bit of trouble getting people to make appointments with me using the time trade thing, but it's what works for me. And so I figure I might have missed a few potential clients because they just didn't want to wade through, clicking this button and filling out the form and that sort of thing. But I think it's a commitment. I mean, I'm not going to give you my information if I'm really not serious about having that starting point meeting with you.
There's another tool. It's a free tool. It's called Typeform. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but you can create a form and it collects information, but it also gives them kind of an idea of where they want to go. And I have one that I set up for branding and another one that I set it up for just a regular request for quote. But once they go through all that, then you've kind of got a head start on what to talk about when you call them back or when you connect at some point. And most of what you can do with the service is free, but there are some paid services that give you just a little bit more benefits. So I use a free service.
It's a great place to start. Anita, did you pop in? It looks like.
I was just going to say, along those guidelines of if I would you, is what would apply to mine would be either if I send you some information, would you give me or would you let me know which product interests you the most? Or if I send you a sample, will you try it and give me some feedback on Thursday or whatever? If you give it to them one day, you give them that timeline, you're asking them for something back. Or it could also be an incentive, like you said, of I'm trying to think of what it would be. If I blank, would you place an order, give it a try, explaining your money back guarantee, of course.
Well, and sometimes the if I would you is if I give you, whatever you're saying, 3 days, a 3-day trial of these products, will you give me an endorsement at the end? Will you give me something I can actually quote? Will you give me a testimonial? They just got something for free. You just got something for free again.
Would you tell your friends on Facebook that you're trying?
Yeah. Would you?
Yeah. A lot of people, when they try something, they don't necessarily want to advertise it. It's funny. They'll tell everybody they're going to a new restaurant. They don't even have been there. They don't even know if the food is good. But they'll say, I'm going to this new restaurant. Y'all, somebody go with me. You're like, well, have you been? They're afraid to share it because they don't have that, testimonial yet. But a lot of times we'll just ask, can you just let everybody know you're trying it? It might pique someone's interest that's looking for an answer, that's struggling. You might help them, even though it may not help you. It might help somebody else.
Love it. I like putting the date on it too, because otherwise I'll lay it aside and never come back to it sometimes, and then the person is having to contact me. Kim, did you have a ask? You're muted.
If you'd like to learn how to create your living legacy, comment below.
And are they commenting on?
If they want to learn how.
On your website, on your Facebook page, or?
Oh, it'll probably be a Facebook page initially.
And then, but then are you allowed to contact them because they commented? I think if they commented, then you're allowed to sort of private message them and say, okay, let's talk about this some more.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed at how many people are sitting there watching us. NACWI is an example, and never click a like button, a comment button, or anything. And I'm thinking, that's why I think creating greater content is an awesome idea, because somehow people are there and they're not engaged, and making a comment puts you right into the conversation. It gets you, it takes you one step further. All right. The NACWI thing real quickly was, and then let's finish up. Do you need a weekend away to connect with a like-minded community of Christian women entrepreneurs and to learn how to take flight as a Christian woman entrepreneur? And so my ask was, I thought first I put save the date, and then I put register to save your spot. And I'll tell you why we're going to have to do it that way. And then I thought, well, if I'm only going to ask them to do one thing, those are both one thing. Save the date, register here to save the date, and get your spot. And we don't have time to dissect that one, but I would love to. So 2 weeks from now, oops, it says May 8th, but it's May the 15th. We're going to do a tools overview. And I mean, y'all gave me some new tools. We talked about the miracle question and the type form, etc. We might add those tools in. The tools overview is what is creative content. There are different types of creative content. What does your client have to believe? I mean, if I don't really believe that Plexus is going to make a difference for me, then I'm not going to try it. How to develop a creative hook, and we'll get into some wording there as well, and some online tools that help you do that grade it for you to show you how many people are really looking for that word, and how many, like someone, for example, it's kind of embarrassing, but one of my coaches was saying, when you tell your NACWI story, what was happening. I said, well, before I was a NACWI member, I was growing, but I wasn't growing as fast as I wanted to, and I was kind of bummed about it. And what I wanted was to blossom, and there I am with the B words, right? I really wanted to just, take this thing and blow it out of the water, and et cetera, et cetera. And he said, but I'm from Australia, and the word bummed has really negative connotations here. For you, it just means that kind of frustrated me. But here, you would never want to use that word in any advertising of any kind. And I was like, ooh. Yikers, good to know. So the word tools online will help with things like that. And then we'll add a formula in for creative success when we're creating great content. Ending up, you guys, now this was more fun than a barrel of monkeys, so I'll toot our own horn. I love this. We are doing virtual conferences when there's a 5th Tuesday in the month. In January, we boosted the Back to Basics program. The end of May, Felicia Slattery is going to be here. I'll talk to you a little bit about that. You'll see more details coming up about that, and we'll create an event for you to pop into, so it'll go on your calendar and that sort of thing. In July, we're going to hear from Diane. Won't that be fun to kind of draw her back in? We'll draw her in at the conference as well. And then in October, we're going to hear from Karen Alexander. Wait until you see this woman's stuff. And then in December, we'll do just a short celebration like we did last year, with gifts going out and prizes, and just a time to kind of relax, and you don't have to take notes in a webinar and that sort of thing. That's what's coming up. And then here's the save the date. So you guys, the conference, put it on your calendar. Oh no, don't tell me, Kim. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to mute you. I'm going to pray that whatever's going on that weekend is canceled or moved. We had a really hard time settling on a date, but save the date. The annual conference will be September 14th and 15th right here in McKinney. So there's a little snapshot of downtown McKinney for you. Part of downtown McKinney, and part of what we'll be doing will be in and around downtown. And then this is the house. I just rented a whole house. So this is the little house that we've rented. It's the Heard Craig Center for the Arts Carriage House. So we'll have the whole house to ourselves for the weekend. And but there is limited space. The space is limited to 50 seats. There's just no way I'm going to be able to fit anyone else in there, and that includes the speakers at the front of the room and that sort of thing. So we will we will be doing a save the date, register for the conference kind of program. But put that on your calendar. Oops, that's us. I'm looking forward to it. We have some really interesting things planned that maybe you haven't done at a conference before. Not because I'm really creative, but I think God is gracious and merciful. That's why I think it's going to be very unique. But Diane will also speak there. We'll hear from Lisa Lloyd, the author of Chasing Famous, the commercial actress. You've seen her in commercials if you watch TV at all, probably. So some other folks will be there as well. So I'm going to need help. So if anybody wants to jump in and sort of be a conference coordinator, we'll make sure you are compensated for that in some way with a advertisement table or, place in the magazine or something. We haven't worked out all those details, but you should be hearing from us really shortly about that. Any last comments, and then let's bless one another and say good day. Okay, Nita. Yeah, everybody's posting stuff. So I'll send you if you need me to, I'll send you the chat room comments so you can see those. I'm not sure they show up on our videos, so no comments. Let me pray us out. Father God, thank you. We just want to be creative in ways that would please you. And so maybe when we go back through our notes, remind us of that question. Is there any way in which I have chosen words or images or creative content that wouldn't please you? Lord, we want it to please you, and we want it to reach those that you already know, providentially know, we need to work with. And may all we do, Lord, bring you glory and honor. And you created us, and you are the most creative one. And so we are made in your image. We are creative. We just need that reminder, Lord. Constantly, I do, over and over and over again. Thank you for equipping me with what I need to do, what you've called me to do. What a blessing. And may I be worthy of it. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
I was going to give y'all a quick tip on the chat box. On the bottom right, it says more. And you can drop
you can save it. Yeah. So if you click on the chat box, when it says type a message here, right before that, it says more. It saves it automatically for me, but you can actually save the entire chat room if there's a link in there or some keyword that you wanted to save from somebody. So I won't bow us out until everyone says, okay, you've done that. God, got it? Good. God bless you. Love you.